Hi friends, welcome back to Nearly Same Games. I'm Neil, and this is the Armory Report. Now last night's Armory event was another Commoner Blitz event. So let's start out and see the changes that I made to my Levia Commoner deck.
All right, let's take a look at the changes we've made to this deck and the things that have stayed the same. First off, we've got our foil Levia, looking great. We busted out our cold foil Romping Club. We're still keeping the Romping Club. It's still a very effective swing for 4. Let's go into our equipment here. Still have the Iron Rot Helm for ninjas that we're fighting against. And I've switched to Hope Merchant's Hood. This was originally Ebonfold. Ebonfold doesn't really do much for us. Hope Merchant's Hood can allow us to trade out our hand in a bad situation and hopefully get us something better. We've got our Heart and Cross Strap for our normal run. If we don't have anything special we need, that gives us an extra 2 resources. And then Barkbone Strapping, if we're playing against Ninja, again, the one block is very important. We have our Goliath Gauntlet, best in class hand arms equipment, and gives us +2. And Hooves of the Shadow Beast, also best in class for what we want to do. Blocks 1, battle worn, and can potentially give us another action point in rare situations, but situations that can come up nonetheless. We're also running full suite of Null Rune. Haven't seen a need for it yet, but always a possibility. All right, now let's start off with our big attacks. First off, we have our Red Deadwood Rumbler swinging in for 8 for 3. This is exactly what we want to do. The effect generally doesn't have too much of a big deal. Be careful though if you only have 1 card in your graveyard, but you get to pick a card, banish a card from a graveyard. So you could potentially banish something from your opponent's graveyard to make sure that you're not banishing a blood deck card. And I've added Wrecker Romp. This is another 8 attack. This is cost 2. This is a 3-card hand, and this has replaced our Zealous Belting Red. Now, I do like the Zealous Belting go wide strategy, but I figured it would be probably better to have a little bit more consistency with our big attacks. Remember, we want to block 2 and block with 2 cards and attack with 2 cards in general. This also is a 3 block, so that helps us out in that situation. For our 7s, we've got our Smash Instinct, a wonderful card. 3 cost with Intimidate, blocks for 3, does everything we want to do. It's great. Now we've traded out our Smash with Big Tree for a Raging Onslaught. Now this has 7 power, but it also blocks 3. Smash with Big Tree doesn't block at all. And this is, again, to work on a little bit more consistency. Smash with Big Tree costs 2, where Raging Onslaught costs 3. Not too worried about that. We have quite a bit of blue in our deck just for fuel, so I don't think that that's going to be an issue, and we get to choose what we're blocking with. So we should usually have a blue available for this. So that cost is negligible, but the defending for 3 is pretty big for us. Then we have our Red Riled Up, and which is also basically the same as a Lunartide Plunderer. It has an additional effect that if we've discarded a card, then we can get +1. We usually haven't, so that's not that big of a deal. And of course, our Lunartide Plunderer, another attack for 7. This only blocks for 2, but another 7 attack is really what we want to do. For our yellow attacks, we've got our Deadwood Rumbler, which also attacks for 7. Does not block, but another 7 attack. We've got a lot of them here. Gives us a lot of power. And then our yellow Smash Instinct only attacks for 6, but with the Intimidate, should be pretty good. Also blocks for 3, which is what we want. Moving on, we have our defense reaction package, which consists of 2 Sink Blows, 2 Fate for Scenes, 0 for defending for 4. Great. You don't want multiples of these in your hand necessarily, but this will generally do quite well for us. Then we have our 4-hand package for extra damage. First off, we're running all 6 pummels. Pummels are excellent. They can cause your opponent to discard target attack action with cost 2 or greater. Almost all of our attacks are cost 2 or greater. Most of our attacks are cost 3. So this will always be a threat, and we're getting +2, +3, and +4. Excellent card. Now, and for if you saw the original video, I didn't originally have 2 yellows. I had 2 Smash with Big Trees. Pulled those out to make room for the 2 yellow pummels, and I'm not looking back. That is an excellent choice, I thought. Now, a new addition is the red and blue Lead the Charge. Now, Lead the Charge says the next time you play an action card with cost 1 or greater, that's for the blue, for 2 or greater for the blue, 1 or greater for the yellow, gain 1 action point. And this has Go Again. Now, this only defends for 2, but this is replacing our Zealous Beltings. I really like Zealous Belting, but when you get down to the blue, we're attacking for 3. The yellow attacks for 4, and we've already pulled out the 5 attack for our 8 attack Wrecker Romp. Now, these are good because you could get Go Again, and I like the Go Wide strategy of it. But after looking at this for a long time and just staring at it and thinking about it, Lead the Charge is always better. Now you think the blue Zealous Belting only brings in 3 damage. If we can give our next attack Go Again, and this costs 2, the Zealous Belting, and we have to have a card that has greater power in our pitch zone. But if you think about this, this costs 0, and we're talking about a 4-card hand. We're talking about having something that has 2 pitch available to us, which we'd need for Zealous Belting. And if we have that, we can play one of our big attacks and swing with our club. Because the club costs 2, so the club is always at least 4. We're rarely going to get the discard. But also take a look at this. So right off the bat, the differences in the colors mean nothing to us because all of our attacks are huge or cost a lot. And this defends the same as the Zealous Belting. We still got a 2 block. But if we arsenal this, we can go in on a 5-card hand and use this, throw something like our 8-power Deadwood Rumbler at our opponent, and then we have Go Again to maybe throw in, I don't know, a Raging Onslaught, and now we've pumped up how much damage we can do to 15 damage on a 5-card turn, whereas the Zealous Belting doesn't give us any kind of bonus on a 5-card turn. And I thought that this kind of bonus for us was really going to work out well. Now, this doesn't do anything on its own. There is the chance that Zealous Belting we could throw at somebody for just the base attack, but I think I'm willing to take that risk, and we'll see how that goes. And for the last group, we've got our fuel, and this is all of blues, and we have a ton. Of course, we've got our Smash Instinct, again, blocks for 3, which is what we want. Intimidate, if we need to throw this at somebody, it's a 5 attack, not awful. Awakening Bellow, costs 1, gives us an Intimidate, and makes our next brute attack action card +1. There's a chance we could play this, probably not. It's probably just blue pitch, probably just blocks for 3, but this is most of what we want there. We've got Riled Up. We've put this in here in place of our Rally the Rearguard. Rally the Rearguard was kind of shoring up our bad hands where we had cards that didn't block, like our Deadwood Rumblers. But we also had a bunch of Smash with Big Trees in there, which didn't block, but those have been taken out. So this card has become less effective. And so getting rid of this 2-block blue for a 3-block blue, I think will be to our advantage. And we're also talking a 5 attack if we need to throw it at them. Then we've got Raging Onslaught blue. Here's another 5 attack. This replaced our Predatory Assault blue. Predatory Assault attacks for 4. It would gain Dominate if we've discarded something with 6 or more this turn, but we probably haven't. We don't have a whole lot of cards that make us discard, so not expecting that. And if we do, getting the go again to play this would be very difficult for us. So a 5 attack, 3-block blue, that's what we're looking for. And of course, Wrecker Romp, 6 power. We have to discard a card to play this, but overall a very good blue card for us. Blocks for 3, and that does everything that we want it to do. So there's the deck in all of its newness, and let's take a look and see how it played.
All right, so we went through 4 rounds of Blitz, and the first round I went up against Ira. Ira is super strong in Commoner, and last night was no exception. She had a ton of defense reactions, and this included the Fate for Scenes, the Sink Belows, and Unmovables. Ira came really prepared for what my plan was, and I couldn't get good damage through. Eventually I got some good hits in there, but I'm pretty sure I went through just about every defensive reaction they had in their deck. It was a lot, and Ira can still push through a lot of damage. I think if you're looking for a Commoner deck and you're looking for the most competitive and destructive deck, Ira's going to be it. You'll be a filthy ninja player, but that's the one that's probably going to win. So I ended up losing that match. I lost when I got down to low life, and he came over with Razor Reflex. So couldn't do much about that. Round 2 was against an Oldham deck, which was pretty interesting. He came up, like, his first big attack was a 10 attack that had Dominate. I was able to throw my armor in front of that, and an additional three blocks, so I blocked 5 of the 10 attack. And then he kind of slowed down a little bit. And I think Oldham in the Commoner format is going to have a difficult time maintaining consistent pressure. He's going to have those big 10 attacks. I think he did run another big 10 attack at me, but that was not dominated, so I was able to do some good blocking with that. And I think I finished him off with a club attack that I added a pummel to, and just went through his defenses. So interesting, but we won that deck. We won that match pretty well. Our third opponent was Dash. Dash is very interesting. She can put up a lot of damage, and with the boost, she can get. She does pretty well with a lot of little attacks, and I would say that she could probably put several 8 power attacks across multiple attacks several turns in a row. The difficulty is when you start putting big pressure on her, you'll start pulling cards from her hand, and her power level drops considerably. So once we started putting on the pressure, and with this deck, I'm able to do consistent pressure. So I'm throwing a 7 or 8 attack every turn, and that's difficult for people to keep up with. And Dash started to go into big block mode, and then it started to become just throwing a pistol attack at me, which of course I can block, or I can hold off and come back with the even bigger turns and drop the big attacks with the pummel on top of it. So we were able to work our way through that matchup. It was important to block carefully and make sure that we kept our life total high. There were some turns that I was thinking, well, if I just soak up this damage, I can bring back a really big 4-card attack, and it's really not necessary. That you're playing the long game. There's potential that you can take Dash to fatigue. So I held back, watched my blocks carefully, not afraid to use my pummel to block a pistol attack. Again, keep my life double high, because I know I'm going to come back with those 7 or 8 attacks, and that kind of pressure, she's not going to hold up well in the long run. So worked our way up for the win in that match. Round 4 was against a Bravo, and Bravo was had some really big attacks coming in. I believe he took me. He had a big attack that I think was around 8 or 9, and I blocked 6 of it, and he threw a pummel on top of it. It took me down to 13, and he took a card from my hand that, and so we were kind of going back and forth a little bit on that. I had him down to 11, and I threw a big 8 attack at him. He had, I'd thrown a big attack at him the previous turn, and he had something that increased his intellect for the turn, and just drew back up to 5. So I threw an 8 attack at him. He decided to take it at 11, which was risky. I had a blue pummel in my arsenal. I threw that at him, brought him back down to 1, pulled a card from his hand. He came back. I was still at a decent life total. I think I was still at 12 or 13. And he came out with a big attack that was not dominated. And I decided to block 6 of that. Still kept 2 cards in hand. Was able to return with a 7 attack. He blocked for 9. And just arsenaled that turn. Came back the following turn with an 8 attack, which he blocked, but then I threw a pummel on top of it for the win. It was a good game. So the deck I liked, I liked pretty well. I think the changes I made to it, I really like having the consistency of having a 7 or 8 attack almost every turn. There were hands that I would get all red hands. I would get pummel and defense reaction hands. I don't like that so much. The Hope Merchant's Hood kind of allowed me to work around that. I think that my addition of Lead the Charge was potentially good. The last matchup, I ended up throwing one in my arsenal, and it pretty much stayed there the whole game. I didn't have quite the hand I needed to really go off with it, and for some reason I decided not to go with the attack and pummel route. I was just saving it for that big turn. I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have used that for a little bit smaller of a turn to go with, an 8 attack and then bring in the club. I just didn't feel like I needed to. I was in a position where I needed to put that kind of pressure on them. And I did get a lot of pummel turns, which I was happy to use my my four card hand for that. So next week I think I'm going to do an updated deck tech. We'll talk about what I can find for the Calling Cincinnati. They have a rule that you can have up to 6 rares in your deck, and I'm going to be looking for which 6 rares I'm going to put in there. I think I'm actually going to go down, lead the charge. I think I'm going to take out the yellows and potentially look for more blues that I can add to the deck. I'll probably have at least 1 red unmovable in there to manage the big Bravo, the big Oldham, and even some of the IRA attacks. Just to have that around, I think might be pretty good. And we'll see where we go from there. Otherwise, I think strategy works very well for Commoner, but yeah, we'll see what improvements we can make. And next week we have, it will be Blitz is the format for next week's Armory event. Not sure exactly what I'll play there, but I might just end up playing my Commoner deck with some legendary equipment and see where we can push it. Probably not, but we'll see what we come up with, and we'll see you then. Until then, this has been the Armory Report.